possibly should abstain from answering any more questions. Go ahead and criticize. But when we're threatened with a lawsuit, that's the way it is.
There's no one here who's threatened a lawsuit. No one's threatened. Nobody here. Well, they're not.
Right here.
Representing us.
Thank you.
No.
Okay. Well, thank you. Don't make me
One quick observation. This is the first time that we actually had an attorney appear on behalf of Volt, so I think it's wise for the board to take the threat of litigation a little more seriously. I agree with Mayor Kozlowski's approach that we maybe take more comments but avoid answering specific questions.
Would that just apply to anyone from Volt? Do you feel like we can interact with the rest of the public?
You have to interact with members of as
to be fair,
individual citizens.
the board is not obligated right here to even hear comments from the public. That is not what this meeting is for. I mean, it shows, I think, concern of the board and the company that the board has been willing at many meetings to take public comments and questions, and particularly to put staff on the spot. That is not an obligation of the company or the board or company management to do so. I would leave it up to the discretion of the board, what level of questions the board entertains, and perhaps have questions directly to the board. And if the board wants Jason or one of the other members of the staff to answer those questions, to specifically direct those answers.
Questions and decided to go.
Yeah, and initially I commented that I was hoping these would be questions to clarify, because obviously there's a lot to this and we want to do more research. So anyway, we will, decide if we'll take questions and possibly just put those down for a future meeting.
My name is Wade Hanson. I spoke earlier. I felt compelled to speak because I am through impact of what these power lines do. In 91, I bought the ground across from the restaurant. It used to be the other end there, a little rise coming on the hill there. 8.5 acres, raised my family there. Been good living. Had a beautiful view, 270-degree view of the valley. I always thought, this would be the perfect place to put one of these little small LDS temples they build now, or something like that, I'm getting older now. It's going to be time to move on and get something smaller and take care of. Well, guess what? This has been a devastating impact to the value of my property. So my comment I would like to make stems from in the calculation of underground versus the power lines. You've heard various concerns, aesthetic, health benefits or perceived health benefits, so on and so forth, that are basically non-existent if they're underground. That help or that cost, how is that calculated into the cost?
Yeah.
Okay, are these people like me that are seeing their property values devastated, just SOL? I mean, bought land in the wrong place? They're going to get free power? I don't think so. What is that a factor in the calculation at all? And if so, why not? Are we just victims of
Collateral damage.
That's progress, right? That's all I wanted to say.
I think that's the very disappointing piece of all of this, right? That some of these poles are going to impact people really dramatically, and yourself included in that.
Yeah.
Folks that live on Highway 40 that have had their small homes or larger homes there, whatever, for a long, long time. I think it's tragic. How do we look at that? What do we do about that?
Well, I don't know, and that's why I bring this up. I had someone interested in buying my grounds, they wanted to develop it, put luxury homes on it, perhaps, whatever. They've been after me for years. They came up and recently and said, well, there's better opportunities now. Maybe sometime in the future, but not now. I would like to invite you all to my place. It's a great bird's eye view of what's happened to the gateway of our beautiful valley. This is Heber Valley. This isn't
Right.
Valley. I should
Yeah.
name any town. I don't know, Nevada or something. This is the jewel of Utah.
Yes.
Why can't we do it right? Yeah, it's going to cost double.
Yeah.
Gated communities you're seeing coming around our valley. Red light, you say power lines?
No, those are, no, I agree. Those are distribution lines. They cost much less to bury, and some of the options we're looking into is what can we do with that as well. So developers bury distribution lines all day long. It's pretty inexpensive in terms of property values. Transmission lines are a whole different animal, I'm learning, and I agree with you. It's tragic, and it's one of the reasons we're looking at alternatives.
It's a complicated issue, I'm aware of that.
Very complicated.
I'm not trying to be adversarial to anybody. I've appreciated Jason and Harold's answer my questions when I've come in there. But it's like, this is what's going to happen in the story. I'd like to invite you all to my place, like I said.
I want to say thank you.
Again, Kevin Payne, just one quick comment in light of some recent comments made. And just a general statement, I assume everyone would agree here in that Heber Light Power as a public utility that's owned by the three cities basically is owned by the citizens of this valley. And therefore, I think, and I applaud the board's willingness to accept public comment. And I would ask you to continue to do so, and even though in situations where you may not be required to do so. As citizens, we have an opportunity to give our opinions, and we would hope that the board would listen to the community as a whole. Because again, this utility isn't a private utility. I'm very familiar with kind of the process, if you will, from a different background. My father was a general manager of a utility, public utility. It was a water agency. So he answered to a board as well, but he was serving the public and had to listen to what the public wanted to do. And I would just hope that each and every one of you would take that into consideration, including staff, that this is the people's utility, and I hope it remains that way for a very long time.
Maybe in response to that, the reason I was late is because I had a dental appointment at 2, and the person that was supposed to be there to do what they were doing was a half hour late. And so while I was waiting, a room full of 8 Heber City, Wasatch County residents that worked in that dental office, they knew where I was coming at 3, and we talked about it and talked about the issue. And every one of those talked about, we can't afford that cost, what the study showed. We can't. In other words, there are 8 citizens there too. They're not here, but there are 8 citizens. So I think we do represent, we do listen to the citizens. There's more groups we get to have, and I've got in trouble on Facebook or whatever because I made the statement that we represent, we listen to other people, and get the thing, well, you're not listening to the majority. The few people that show up on Facebook is the majority. And I had 8 this afternoon says, I can't afford that.
So Kendall, have they read the rate study?
I shared the rate study with them while we're waiting for the person to show up. No, they hadn't read it all. Some of them knew more about it than others. I'm just expressing that there was 8 people just this afternoon that said, yeah, we just maybe not see the power lines, but we sure like to turn the lights on.
Can I make a comment to that from the town hall again on the finance piece? I'm concerned, I'm very concerned, when I saw the cost analysis, that people are going to get a hold of that document and look at it and say the differential between these costs will be significant costs going around. But we can't communicate to the valley and say, we need all this investment in this grid because the power needs for the valley are going to double in the next period of time, and yet show the financials based on today's market. We have to show it both ways. And I'm concerned people are going to now go on the site and pull up that cost study, and just like what happened in the dentist office, say, I can't afford that. And maybe it's still too high because it's going to bring the cost of all of those alternatives down. But when we present this to our people, they've got to know the facts and be comfortable that they're right. And I believe you need to show the cost of that project, which has a set amount of money, based on its lifespan and the market that you're going to have over the next 20 years, which is probably the bonds. And that's not how we're showing it. So I'd ask as we move this thing forward, as we present, as you go out to the community and talk about it, we talk about the volume needs, the energy needs, and the true cost of doing this project. I would just ask that that's the way it be done.
Just a final, again, and I agree that all citizens, okay, need to be taken in consideration. I absolutely agree with that. And cost is an important issue. I'm very sensitive to that. My entire career has been developing affordable housing, so I understand the needs for those that are on lower or fixed incomes. And again, we're looking at a very kind of, it's been admitted, I hate to use this term, kind of a crude analysis, but it's rough at this point. It's not fine-tuned. But just ballpark figure, if this is just done above ground, okay, as planned, ratepayers' rates are going up, if it's applied that way, if I read it correctly, $9 a month. And if the partial bearing was what, roughly 20 a month, if it was applied that way. So already ratepayers are going to be hit with $9 a month. So, you know, if you present to people it's an additional $11 a month, that might look a lot different than presenting it as $27. I just throw that out there. But again, my earlier comment was in regards to the comment made in terms of shutting down public input and questions. I would just encourage the board to continue to solicit and receive feedback and constructive points of view and questions from the public. I thank you for that.
Thank you.